이거는 아주 로사비기나 내가 지금 로릭 나 고조야지 양식 롭창 고조야지 안도 데센틸이야 당보로 신자 당아도 지 로텔이야 대녀만은 가지고 롭창 집에 기회 자만 뭐 사요로 된다 로텔한테 아직 로텔에 소속이 고급된 얘기라고 배우리 된사 심지어 탐지기 된다 산요고바 뉴아뉴 교보토우도 디토에게 된다래야 아니 내가 낭 삼류기 류일 남샤 간에간에도 디자 데니게 로정셰제네 직냠렌지야 산요고바뉴 토로 지인선비게 아니 군노한테 삼바싱아도 시네 아니 직고소야지로와.
And good evening to everyone. So we come together now for the first weekend class, the first study group of this new year. And we're going to continue with what we started last year to look at the text Lorig, or awarenesses and knowers. So when we, in our time together, whether it was the weekends we looked at Lorig or the other classes we've had, we've accumulated already a huge store of virtue, of positive karma. And that karma, as well as what we've created in past lives, this has helped serve to create the conditions for us to come together again now. And coming together to hear the teachings of the Buddha Dharma are particularly important in that if we want to transform our minds and have a truly beneficial impact on others, we have to engage in the cultivation of the mind of the Buddha Dharma. And for that practice, the practice of the Buddha Dharma to be effective, we have to have a good understanding of the Buddha Dharma. So it's independent on understanding the Dharma well, that our practice will be effective, our mental transformation will be effective, and thereby we'll have a transformative effect not only on ourselves, but also on all those that we come into contact with. The text we started at some point last year. We had 2 study group weekends on the text, but then due to other commitments, we haven't looked at the text as a group since the beginning of September. So quite a period of time has passed since we last looked at this together.
The Lorig Session Rikpasya Dangazuki Rikpasya, Losya Dangazumin, Samlo di Korshigoro, Jisa, Semki Korshigo, Semkam Riparu, Chagorua, Jisan Divia, Nangazuki, Losya, the Kanekan Rikto, Masona, Kanekan Rikmito, Kanaka Yore Sada, and the Lodiki, you Kanekan Singore Sada, and Digor Mashigoroda.
The subjects that this topic in Tibetan is Lorig, so it's 2 words, Lo, which is awarenesses, and Rik, which is knowers. So the text then is called awarenesses and knowers, or to express that differently, we can say mind and knowers. And what this topic is about is coming to understand the wide variety of minds, as well as how the minds interact with or apprehend their various objects. So this text, it can be expressed in different ways, such as object and object possessors, awarenesses and knowers, but it's about about the various minds and how they interact with their objects.
Nang samlo membiki chi su so la so ba yu di ke chasa yoba le dro chisa yoba lam na ta yu che tham chi shi tu ba chasa la yoba shi tu ba le go le ta ni la de sen ni che de ta yu di ke ha go han chi go ba ha go di re di che ha go singen de la lo se go lo di ke ri ba ke lo ki ta nga zu ke di re di ma re se ha go ba ta chi su so la so ba ko ran zu ke su de ki yu di ko ran ha go ma kan ta nga zu 유신의 하고야기 유제 하고 간이체 땅아주 유다 유전세 니치고다 하고 간데라 야 신겐데라 안에 디다 디레서 하고 간데라 안에 유전세 데 그런 거 하고서 유도 여봐서 유전세 하고야기 고세기의 시디 네 유신민 다정아주 때때에 유다 유전세 니 개발치고로 봐
all phenomena that exist, all existence, can be divided into those which are consciousness or minds, and those which are objects other than mind. So we can talk about a variety of external objects as well as internal minds or consciousnesses. So consciousness, minds, can be both an object as well as an object possessor. It can, with an object possessor being that which possesses, that which knows the object. So everything that is an existence, everything that exists, is an established base, and it can therefore be known by a consciousness, by a knower, by a mind. So it's mind that knows an object. Every mind has its own object. Other phenomena such as form or matter, this cannot know or realize an object. Consciousness or mind knows objects, knows objects. So here there's a lot of terminology that's used, and another way of expressing this is we have an object. That object is possessed or known by an object possessor, that which possesses its object. Or a consciousness, a mind, is what knows or possesses its object.
Lorig Monsum and Jeba and Geshe lama di duna dadi lorik dunsi ora di dundile du.
Normally, when one hears about Lorig, awareness and knowers, those who have studied this text will immediately remember the Sevenfold Division of awareness and knowers, or the Sevenfold Division of Lorig. So this is something we are still to come to, but as we are looking at different ways of dividing minds, then we can mention here the Sevenfold Division of Lorig. So these are, no, I didn't write it down, so let me try and remember. Okay. So these seven then are direct perception, inferential cognizers, the correct assumption, inferential cognizers, inferential, correct assumption, subsequent cognizers, so that's 4, doubt, wrong consciousness, and I've missed one. And non-ascertaining awareness. So let me say them again. So we had direct perception, inferential cognizers, correct assumption, subsequent cognition, non-ascertaining awarenesses, doubt, and wrong consciousnesses.
Yawad Duna, Cabal Masona, the Dunalva, and Cabal Dun Charwa. That the Negro de Gesam, Mambuching Arzuela Yoreta, in a Kasha Hazanzuela Yomariso, in Anne, Kasha Mera Yore Kazungo.
Generally, when one hears about this term Lorig, so just to say as the translator, I use the Tibetan more frequently, Lorig, rather than the cumbersome English awarenesses and knowers. So when we hear the term Lorig, if we've studied this subject, then usually our mind will recall the Sevenfold Division, because that is usually what one refers to. And within the Sevenfold Division, with these 7 ways of 7 ways of dividing consciousness, then there will be many there that we have, some that we don't have, and at various times we have more of them, and other times less of them. Moreover, the Sevenfold Division can also be further subdivided.
이내 강사도 유제레데 강사대야 로마레 로레요만
이거는 강사 기콜의 양교성 강사 기콜의 양교성
강사디게 유하고 그러와 디 첨보레 디 충중레 디 요레요만 수하고 그래서 유디 하고 한디 강사게 하고 그래 로게 하고 그래 니가 하고 그러와 진짜 니가 유제레 강사 세대 유제레 유요 유리에도 그런 하고에 유요 받듯이 그래 셰바디게 유요레 다 이내 강사디게 유하고 그래 그 유제레데 이내하고 셰바 말에 로 말에 그 디메티체와 강사 그런 디메티체.
With the English text in front of you, we're now going to go to the second page and look at object possessors. So object possessors, there are differing types. The first object possessor, that which possesses an object, is that of persons. So a person is what a person can know its object. A person knows whether something is big or small, is this or is that, and a person itself can both be an object as well as an object possessor. But what a person is not is consciousness or an awareness. A person is not consciousness. A person is not awareness. It's rather a non-associated composite.
안주 주지게 자서 안주기 기시에게 자셔로 어디 강바야고도 세다 안에 즉 디요레 요 말세 주지게 자디게 안주기 대소의 유진리에 다 유진리에 그래서는 그런 게 주지게 유도 또고 막 하고 막 이내 그런 게 죄에게 주시 여바 인자 가 유리해 그 죄에게 변에 bomba 라비도 자디기 그 시디 죄에게 시디 bom바라고 유디 bom바라고 인자 주식에 자디 분바시베 자세티게 안에 유진리에서는 달 지소 릭지게 샤고 유진리라고 릭지기다 유진 말에서데 유제이나 유대하고 그래서 주식에 자디 유대하고 말에 주의를 하고 말인데 유진 말에라 편지 용그래 달 그런 게 죄에게 주시 여반장 하모가 나고 유진 샤나 지기리에서 나가 제 연구를 다시 니스는
And another type of object possessor we have here as the third one is that of expressive sounds. So an expressive sound is, for example, the sound vase that expresses what an object is. So that is considered by many to be an object possessor, because it's through the expression of sound that the object can be maybe perhaps identified. But this third division of expressive sounds, as the third division of object possessors of expressive sounds, is not accepted by all practitioners. Whilst many will say the object possessors are divided into three, others will not accept this third division, because they say an object possessor needs to also know its object. An expressive sound that is expressed, or that expresses a meaning, that does not know its object. So therefore there are those who do not accept this third division of object possessors, namely expressive sounds.
가르치 리바데 로리에서 리바라도 갈라고서 지금 하고 와들라고 리바라 유디 직도바 세데니게 도한데라 리바 그런 생기 로세데 리바들 라기레스 마다 리바마도 유가야 뭐지 파 리고를 또고를 데니게 또비게 되라 리바들라 네 로라기레마도 셰 지게 샤사지요 말에 제가 리바세 로레스 거다니.
The division of object possessors, we mentioned briefly persons and expressive sounds, and then the remaining division is that of awarenesses, which encompasses most of this body of the text we'll look at. So just going a little bit further down on the page to the heading of awarenesses, we see awarenesses defined as a knower. So an awareness is defined as a knower, something that knows an object, that it's consciousness that knows an object, that realizes an object. That is the definition of awareness.
Wongbe Sheba the Yi Sheba Nishagoro, Wongbe Sheba the Yi Sheba. The Wongbe Sheba the Migi Wongbonnet part Dagi Genjeje, Yu Tong Sheba Jikje. Now you Wombone Genjejane, Yu Hakuan, Jahawa Sheba Jikje. Ji Wombone won't be Genje and Rotang, the nigger, Rihawan Sheba Jikje. Then Luki won't be and the Genjeje and Raja Jamba Suba Jamwata and Tsawati Hakuan Sheba Ngai Hongore. Dela, one share, one share.
So awarenesses can be divided, as we'll see, in many different ways. So one way that they can be divided is into sense and mental consciousnesses. So sense consciousnesses are, of course, consciousness. Mental consciousnesses, of course, consciousnesses. So sense consciousnesses themselves have 5 subdivisions relating to the 5 senses. So there's the eye sense consciousness, or the visual sense consciousness, which knows visual objects. There's the ear sense consciousness, which is a consciousness that knows sound. There's the smell sense consciousness, which is a consciousness that knows smell. The taste sense consciousness, which knows taste. And lastly, there's the tactile sense consciousness, which knows physical objects, or objects of touch. So these are the 5 sense consciousnesses.
Yi Sheba said, the nigger won't be Suchem by Darkin Chebal, Tumoma Imbig, Darkin Chebal, Madubache, and you Hagoen, Titan Dire, Timares, Yoma Hago, and Shebatilla, the Yi Sheba Sigurua.
And then the mental consciousness is a consciousness that arises independent on its own unique empowering condition and is thereby able to know its object. The mental consciousness arises independent on its own unique empowering condition and it comes to know its object.
And in the end, to some done won't be Sheba, I did Chasang to the Yore, Kitty Nangansu won't be Sheba Gigore, Zamzam Suptungore, Zamzam Tratugore, Hagugore, Zamzam and Jig Raw, the Yahago, Zamzam and Tawi, Tawada, Tawada, the Nick Tawi, Rajat, Yahago, washing at the Gayobache. She's not washing at the Yobazan Kitty Nangansu, Shukche, the washing at the Bijitangore, washing at the Bijitadu, washing Digi Gingine, and the Yigi Sheba, Mambuchitang, Sujangore.
These 5 sense consciousnesses, those of the consciousness relating to the 5 senses of sight, smell, taste, touch, and tactile, we have all 5 of these. And it's through and these 5 are regularly manifest within us. So we are seeing things, we are hearing things, we know if we are a bit hot or if we are a bit cold, we taste. So we have all 5 of these sense consciousnesses that know the objects of the senses. And independent on these sense consciousnesses, many mental consciousnesses later arise, or rise independent. Many mental consciousnesses arise independent on the various sense consciousnesses.
Digi wanshe digi yu ben medola ma son ning ji ora tong na jia la na ning ji yu tong de ji ya ora tong de mi xie ba dang bo jia la tong den de tong de digi mi xie
dang bo tong
mi xie ba ge ben medo na da jia la na ka de ning ji yu tong gu wa mi xie ba ge sa de da di tong ne digi jian jian ne da yi xie ba da yu de la cha hui cha ba jie na yu di nga ra hu sen bi de ba. So to give an
illustration, if we see a flower, or a beautiful object such as a flower, so we'll see this being an object of form, we will see it with our eye sense consciousness. So the initial engagement with the object is through the visual consciousness or the eye consciousness, and in dependence on that comes a variety of mental consciousnesses. So this beautiful flower appears to our eye sense consciousness. In dependence on this object appearing to our eye sense consciousness, various mental consciousnesses will follow, such as, I want this beautiful flower. So attachment arises. So attachment then, and this wish of wanting the object, this is a mental consciousness which arises in dependence on the eye sense consciousness, which apprehends the object, in this case, a beautiful flower.
zik minyambaro chik teneke zik yaku meba dukjaro amchodi nawe sheba goyodu digi kienje ne ten lamsa dile ya doba meba kontra kiya da dine kiya anzo chagdangi chabada dangwada namyengi rik tokbe rik namangwo kiya de gashi wanshigi jesu dane kigo ra anzo da.
The sequence relates to, of course, not just resulting in attachment arising, but also, for example, if we see someone whose face if through the facial expression, we see this person is not happy, this person is not in a good mood, then in dependence on our eye sense consciousness seeing this person appearing to the eye sense consciousness, then a variety of mental consciousnesses will arise, such as fear or aversion. And these mental consciousnesses again come about in dependence on the preceding visual sense consciousness. And this works with all the sense consciousnesses. So, for example, if we hear music, music appears to our ear sense consciousness, then our mental consciousness, perhaps attachment to our mental consciousness, attachment will arise, or dislike will arise for that music. Or if we're speaking with someone, so our ear consciousness is hearing what is being said, or what is being said appears to the ear consciousness, ear sense consciousness. And if the person is saying pleasant things, pleasing things to us, then the relevant mental consciousnesses will follow from that. Or conversely, if a person is criticizing us or scolding us, then what is being said will appear to our ear sense consciousness, and in dependence on that, various mental consciousnesses will arise, disliking what is being said. And this sequence we apply to all these sense consciousnesses, all five of them, and it's through the sequence of our sense of objects appearing to our sense consciousness, and then a variety of mental consciousnesses following, that we have all this busyness of our mind, or all this over-conceptualization. This is a very common way, the most common way for our over-conceptualizing mind, our busy mind, to arise.
And it Desha, Rik Mangwiki, and this Semakiwacha, Control Rik Mangwiki, and the Tiki and the Semakiwacha, the Niki Makiwacha, the Ki and Anzugi, that's some Gamri Tone, the Sungongo Chair, the Suk Mayaki, Tablam de Carcio or Lamna, one bishop of Godam Gores, one bishop of Gao Gores, says one bishop of Godam Bacha, said Anzugi, Lam Yamnanchi Kabishi was that one shady Godam Baladu, Migi. Matajipa, Matava Shaporis, Matava and me, Tumares, Matavana, Mato Dici Sudan Bigi, Ula Chapada, Della Tawayo, Conte Kimares, Jeza Amjo Gishera, Nisu Manyamba Shashavana, Nisu Yawashi, Chapalaya, Nisu di Manyamba, Conrolaya, Nisu di Manyamba Shavajana, Amjo Humara, Moda, how Moda, Hamona. dene ne so magona digi jesu dabigi an control ta chata ki mare dene inza an dimake baina semlia an sem ba bo lya yongres ninjeza dene inza wongbe ko dan ba se migi daya ta an amchogi nya ta mara nya di phaka bo res tika baina sosolya an namto mongli male bana control ta de cha da dene ge namenge male baina sosol sem an shiri yongres se ti 제가 지금 저기 제가 왕셰디 용 하고 왔지 뭐 손에 난 디기 되는 용 진짜 디가 샤바는 내는 디 디스 용문도 디가 샤바는 디스 용문도 선배게 내내기 개발 디레도 하다.
The purpose of this topic is to come to understand the Buddhist presentation of mind, and the purpose of that is to come to understand our own mind. So if we take the information that's given and we investigate it and we see whether it's valid or not, we take this information that we've been given now and we see if this sequence, if this works, if there's truth to this. And if one investigates in meditation, one will come to see that so much of our mental busyness comes about through this sequence. First through the doors of our sense consciousnesses, all this mental busyness arises. And what happens when we have this busy over-conceptualizing mind? Any mental peace we may have had is lost. And this is because minds of attachment and the various classes of attachment arise, or desire arise. Minds of anger, such as frustration, annoyance, hatred, or the minds of that class just continuously, almost ceaselessly arise. So when we see the validity of this presentation, that this sequence does exist, and this is our actual lived experience, then we will look for a solution. What can we do about this? And the text present the basic solution. The very first step is, if an object is destroying one's inner peace, one should separate oneself from that object. If that object is leading to undesired consequences, we should separate ourselves from it. And in this way we close the doors of our sense consciousnesses. We close our eyes, we close our ears, and so forth. So this, we can understand. If something doesn't taste good, we don't continue to eat it. If some music doesn't sound good, we don't continue to listen to it. So we're closing our sense door. Likewise, if listening to the news is really upsetting us, maybe we shouldn't listen to the news when that happens. So this is the most basic way to deal with our mind. But the purpose here is to come to understand the workings of our mind, and that is done through this presentation here, seeing how through our sense consciousnesses arise, independent on what the objects that appear to our sense consciousnesses, come all this variety of mental consciousnesses, and these can and often do destroy our inner peace. But if we separate ourselves from these disturbing objects, then our mind is more relaxed, more spacious, more even and calm.
bene 차단 차바 당한 얘기 유를 맞다와 차단 얘기 안 드라마냐바 근데 다디야 저게 소수게 대백이야다 개위 삼로 약고 얘기 유들 따고 그러와 배치로 쓰면서 대브로로 하네 되니 다야다 안에 자로 년바이나 안지 상지기 송취다 안지게 한 저기 최유고 다 소수게 우연히서 튼비기 되는 년바이나 다디 냠는 제상 꼴 가르가르 시험하면 얘디 니냐고 원비 거담서 대야 가야 만년바지 원바 차상 가샤 올라고 말와 그래서 자녀여도 차바 차단계에 자디 만년바가 그래서 이내다 저기 기회 자와 폐에게 소수게 냠는 제기 초가르가르 년고디서 양년고 차고 년고로
Through understanding this topic and investigating its validity in meditation, we'll come to see how this process works, what objects disturb us, what objects have a beneficial impact on our mind. then seeing what disturbs us, seeing what leads to our mind being overwhelmed with attachment and desire or anger and hatred, we'll want to turn away from those objects. It'll be quite easy to turn away from those objects because we'll see the resulting sequence that comes from engaging in them. Similarly, we'll also through this process of investigation come to understand which objects, as they arise into first to our sense consciousness and then what impact they have on our mental consciousness, lead to happiness, lead to peace, lead to a more calm and spacious mind. And as we come to understand then which objects lead to happiness, those ones we'll want to engage with ever more. So through this process of analysis, we'll come to see what disturbs our mind, and we'll come to see what causes our mind to be calmer, more settled. We'll come to see what leads our mind to becoming more loving, more open-minded, more accepting of others. We'll come to see what leads our mind to coming to understand reality better, and thereby not being overwhelmed by whatever it is that we encounter. So this advice to close the doors, close the doors of the senses, of the sense consciousnesses, this should be understood as closing the doors of our sense consciousnesses to what disturbs our mind, to what leads to mental disquiet, that leads to mental turmoil. And rather we should open ourselves to that such as the teachings of the Buddha Dharma, to meditation. Open ourselves to those because we will see through our experience that is what opens our heart, opens our mind. So this is the way to approach what we're covering here.
Denige samlo tamatu gan zole ya lamsa denige thong o di pe abore sha de la chakwa janga di che wo sambe je ngura dene la wong be ko tam gore la ta ya ngan ju ge denige je ge thong mi ge thong ji o da dene thong da denige be ne shen ge chik sup da da mara ji ge che du sha she ba da ji ga ji yo ba ne su ko ba denige sam da o da di pe du ja de da ko denigi dia ko deni cheba dia ko nyomong ge shangwan no so chi go ra se ning je san be ge denigi sam ta tu ko na denigi ko ba ne so so ni ji ge ya an xian ne ni ji ge ya an pan do yong sui bin nyam le je la pan do yong gu ru ba deni na ko nian na ji go tong na ji be na ji ge ja la ni ji wo chu tong be ne lam sa o da ni ji du yi ne de 저 착고 유래 그래서 미다바를 깨지기 지배를 마도 랑 그면 좀 되게 템버스 말에 선배가 삼다 투게베네 아니 디셈지고 저 핑거로 와 되네서 고 될어 되네게 삼다 투간절로 오고 담 거예요 말에 되네게 삼다 마투간절 남사 착고 계시지 남사 코로 계시지 요바이나 되네라 하는 가지고 미기 마통하다 암점 많냐 버전에 약속을 해서 그래 답람디.
What I'm explaining right now, I hope you keep in mind, not just in this class, but the classes that will follow, because a text like this can seem a bit impenetrable, it can seem quite theoretical, but if you approach with intelligence, it's very practical. So a further way to utilize the knowledge that is gained here is that as we're starting to know ourselves better, as we're coming to understand our minds better, we'll understand first are what are desired states, what is meant by happiness. That happiness isn't merely excitement, but happiness is peace and calm. And we'll come to understand then what is contrary to that. And that things that previously we saw as happiness is really just excitement and therefore distraction, a disturbed mind rather than a peaceful mind. And so this is how we'll progress. We'll first come to understand what is bringing harm, what is bringing benefits, and we'll close off what brings, or turn away from what brings harm, and embrace what brings happiness. And as we do this more and more, we'll become more skilled within ourselves. And as we continue to get to know ourselves better and become more knowledgeable of the Dharma, and more knowledgeable about ourselves, things that before we turned away from because we saw they disturbed us, actually will now no longer disturb us in the same way. Maybe still a bit, but not nearly as much as before. And this is because as we come to understand the Buddha Dharma better and apply it more skillfully and effectively to ourselves, we will become much more skilled in dealing with life's challenges and difficulties, and things that disturbed us before now will no longer disturb us in the same way. And then, for example, when one's been training one's mind for a while, when we encounter someone who's verbally abusive to us, perhaps speaks to us in quite a harsh manner, in the past we will recognize that when people spoke to me in that way, they pushed my buttons and I responded with anger. Immediately anger arose and I almost certainly would have expressed it. But now we start to see some change within ourselves. We understand, we've come through understanding our own mind and how our mind works, we also can apply that to understanding how others' minds work. Through this knowledge and experience, we will not then take on this mere expression of sound. We'll understand it for what it is. We won't grasp at it with the same strength, giving it that power that we used to give it. We'll rather see that sound as something impermanent, fleeting, nothing worthy of grasping at and taking as truly existent. Moreover, and then thinking that way, that will also lead to our mind not becoming disturbed and therefore more spacious. Having more spacious mind means we can be more aware of the mental state of the person who's talking to us in this manner. We'll understand they are suffering. This harsh speech is not a reflection on myself, but a reflection on their inner world. It's a reflection that they are suffering. And in this way, not only are we not getting angry and upset by what is being said, but compassion arises within us for this person, the suffering person before us. So this now is a much more skillful way to deal with such a situation. And here we will see within ourselves that in the past, perhaps this person we struggled to deal with, so therefore we avoided them, because we saw that this person and the way they treat us leads to our mind becoming disturbed. So through seeing them or hearing what they say, this arising in our sense consciousness leads our mental consciousness to be disturbed, so therefore we avoided them. But now through our mental training, when we meet them, when we encounter them, we are able to deal with the same situation much more skillfully. And therefore, this person is no longer someone, an object, someone to be avoided, but someone we can engage with and benefit.
Dela tene ngazu yi sheba kechi odi inside di yapore di ko gudu sembi ne ngazu ki shi lega ma chero diro shire da jede wanshe gi chesu zhang che tokpa ke namdo ke di shi su zhang de nyi du ba ke shi lega che arwa da be ngazu ki kangbe don da se kangba ji sobdaro se mi ba se amcholo ko tene je su dulo da saya don ya di ke pa o nga saya di ni ko gudu sembe sam ke di da bo che shi zhuo nyo che shi zhuo yong an de Duloinada, and Sayadonada, and Capra Cheo, Dia Woyora, Migi, Sunier, Suro, Duenche, Mille Duen, and Digi Geshe Thubten Rabten Jade Amjoko, Sunyen di Migi Tong, and the Jadi Donda Geshe Amjoko, Sosola Dumba, Onga Tikus, Dunyer Dubaje. The net Dunyer Dubaje, Timbi, Di Shukin, Di Raya Dondala Lega, the Samla Dhamara Tadi, Diladi, and Leramo Dedi, Che Mang Chero, Karidi Wars and Azuki, Washigi Cheso Jane, Dunyer Dumbadang, and then Di Cheso Jane and the Leramo Jadi, Marshal Di Chagorwada, Marzul.
So I encourage you then, meditation to look within yourselves and look for the sequence of an object appearing to the sense consciousness and then the resulting mental consciousnesses that follow. So this works, as was mentioned earlier, this is the case for all the sense consciousnesses. For example, if a particular fabric feels really good on the skin, then we come in contact with this feeling of the fabric through our tactile, it's a tactile object, we come into contact with through our tactile sense consciousness, and this touch, then, this feeling arises, the feeling of the fabric arises to our sense consciousness. From that comes the thought, I really like this, I want this, I want to wear this kind of fabric more and more often. So we see how desire, attachment arises in dependence on our sense consciousness coming into contact with the object. Same with smells, desirable smells, undesirable smells, and certainly with taste. When we taste food that is delicious, we come into contact with the object through our sense consciousness, in this case the tongue sense consciousness. It tastes delicious, and immediately our mental consciousness, I want to eat more, and I want to eat this again and again. So we see this process. But more than the touch and the smell and the taste sense consciousnesses, the ones that have the greatest impact on us are what we hear and what we see, our ear sense consciousness and our visual sense consciousness. So when we hear something that we hear sound, and it appears to our ear sense consciousness, and then our mental consciousnesses get involved, and we think, oh, this is lovely music, or this is someone's talking very well about me, someone is praising me, someone's talking in accordance with my views, and we have all these pleasurable thoughts that follow. I like this person, I want to spend time with this person, I want to listen to this music more often. We have all these thoughts. And of course the opposite is also the case. When we hear something that's not in accordance with our views, we hear something unwanted, aversion arises. So we need to be aware of this process, come to see how pervasive it is. And of course with the visual consciousness too, it's really the visual and the ear consciousnesses, the eye and the ear consciousnesses that seem to have the greatest or the largest number of impact on us, and the resulting mental consciousnesses. So this is something that we need to come to understand well. And when we see the validity of this and just how frequent it is, we'll see that not only do these variety of mental consciousnesses then arise, but from that we engage in a variety of actions. We want to engage with this object more or less. And from this we're doing many things or we're avoiding many things. We see this whole process, this whole sequence. And this is important to gain experience of, so that this knowledge isn't just theoretical but is practical, because we'll come to understand the workings of our mind. We'll come thereby to understand ourselves better, know ourselves better.
ne embalia de gore sa da cham ro china ne embe mi shera me sa chi de gore sa de gyumjen di ro pe zhong jian na le de wai na da ji mi ge thong ya nang bo da ma ra thong de mi ge da ma ra thong de nam do da ma ra che che de ne gom nyam le ya bu yong tu ma re che sa am jo le da ma ra ko yong du ka bla ndi nam do da ma ra che che de ne ga zu gom nyam le ya bu chi ku ma re che sa de ne yin sa ne embal de de mi ge shera thong me de che sa mi ge thong me wa sa nam do di Geshe Thubten namdo kigo mare da amju jara da kwa jana ni su kwa me ra me de di Geshe Thubten de ya cha dang namdo ki ma de ne za ko so su rang ge nyamlen che di rang sam lo ya li tu go wa de ne za che nyamlen che ga da de su ya ga ko cham ju ji de le dang bo zo la zu ge ne en ba le de go se de gym zen de ro ne en ba si de ki mi ge thong ya shi ra me de ke an zai shi ra ko me de ku de se de gym zen de ro.
Moreover, as one gains this experience of one's inner workings and how one interacts with the world around us and how that world around us has an impact on ourselves, the new practitioners who are or meditators who are new to the Buddha Dharma, strong wish arises within them to separate themselves from the objects that cause such distraction. from the busyness of their home and their place of work. They want to separate themselves from this and be somewhere that gives rise to less distracted minds. They want to go somewhere that's quiet and peaceful. They want to go somewhere where they don't see many desirable objects or objects of aversion, because they know their mind will be calmer, more peaceful, and easier to train. So in dependence on doing these prior meditations well, the wish arises in new practitioners to go into retreat, to separate oneself, to isolate oneself, and enter for a period of isolation, isolated from the worldly distractions, primarily visual and auditory, that lead to the mental consciousnesses being so disturbed. And by isolating oneself, going into retreat alone, then one will have a far easier opportunity to tame the mind, to subdue the mind. So this is a process, a sequence that happens through going through these meditations.
Ngotreba hagoba ina ta cheza dine za sam nyam onzu nyamlen chiri kapla ta wongbe sheba dine china dine gi wongbe cheba digi beju ta ba na andele den namdo yungre de za na nyomo ji gre cha ji gre dine nawe sheba digi dine chi beju ta ba na di che su tan namdo an thong de sha khong ro ma ja mangbu ji gre dine za di pha ji chu yo ma re se wongbe sheba digi pha ka na wongbe ko ta ma ka sha ba ina and namdo makiwa sosuki semchidi yata kiwi jawa druptuedi nyamlenchia de keba yungora dineza wongbe shebige namsha da hamogona ane nyomoki de ganes ganes kiweme kondro ganes kiweme dina hagumara na kondro sagido mado ganes kiwido namna samdana kera de hagumar kondro kera da hamogona kondro mebasana kara de hagumar cheza dineza wongbe shebe namsha de hago wongbe sheba dela dine yi shebe namdo dine jangyo ba da hago yodu 하고 와 있나 저기 남도 마기에 탑시제와디 왕시에 가셔 봐 있나 아니 기금이도 선비게 탑람도네 베베지 땅도 봐 가지고 왕비시 베냠내 하고 고야디 님자로 디차고래.
So if you take the knowledge that's the information that's presented here, this knowledge that you're receiving, and you reflect on it well, then you'll come to understand the inner workings of your mind. You'll come to understand this process that independence on objects arising to our five sense consciousnesses, whereas mental consciousness come. And usually these are these over-conceptualizing minds, this busyness that we experience so. And as one reflects on this more and combines it with one's other knowledge in the Dharma, one will see from this over-conceptualization, one will come to understand better the harm that this over-conceptualization leads to. It's not merely a busyness, but one is one is regularly engaged with objects that are bringing harm to oneself. And one is not so engaged with objects that bring benefit to oneself. So one needs to combine the knowledge that's presented here and what one has studied elsewhere, to understand better what does bring benefit and what does bring harm. Because then, with all this knowledge and experience here too, one will then with ease turn away from the objects that cause mental disturbance. There are objects that arise to our sense consciousness and cause disturbance, because you'll understand what harms. Correspondingly, we'll understand what brings benefit. And we'll want to engage with those, because we'll see when they arise to our sense consciousnesses, our mental consciousnesses are those of virtue. So in this way, it becomes much easier to turn away from what leads one down the path of non-virtue or negative karma, and much easier to embrace that which leads to virtue or positive karma. But this way of being able to differentiate can only come about in dependence on studying well and reflecting on what one is studying repeatedly over a sustained period. If one doesn't do that, one will not come to understand what disturbs one's mind and takes one's mind in the direction of anger and the direction of attachment. One will not even understand clearly what is meant by a mind of happiness or a mind that is peaceful. And thereby one will not know what to turn away from, and in fact may well end up continuing to embrace objects that actually only lead to suffering. So therefore it's imperative that one gains knowledge and reflects on knowledge, because this is the process that leads to greater happiness, leads to greater virtue, and leads one to turn away from the causes that only lead to suffering.
and Jalal Mason, Yagdul Mason, the Kavachua, the Yagaresha, the Duaresha, the Jiwata, the Juachuaresha, the Nigeria, Yawachua, the Nashida, Nanzo Lodinala, Yadu, Yawachedu, the Nanda Tema said, Tema Mimbe law said, the Nichi order.
As mentioned earlier in our talk, awarenesses can be divided in many ways. So we've looked at one way to divide it into the 5 sense consciousnesses and the mental consciousness, so 5 sense and 1 mental consciousness. So this is one way to divide awareness. Another way, if we look back at the text, the bottom of the section on awarenesses, we'll see another division into valid cognizers and non-valid cognizers. So just like we can divide objects into things which are pleasurable or not pleasurable, good or bad, the awarenesses can be divided in many ways, those which are beneficial and those which are less so.
And it's Tema said, and the Ganachi Lagore, Lana, Tadela, and the Sardu Milu Riba said, that Yudi, Dambo, the Milu Sardus and Dambo Sore. And then Niela Maton, Damboton, Dambo Hago, the Nigi Ribatilla, and the Sardu Milu Riba, you the Dambo Topi Ribatella, and it's Tema like this, or Tema said, the Nichi like this.
Awarenesses can be divided in a different way, that into valid cognizers and non-valid cognizers. So the section then at the bottom of the second page is that of valid cognizers, and the definition of a valid cognizer is a new, incontrovertible knower. The first term we see here is new. So this refers to the first moment that the object is realized by this cognizer. So it refers to the first moment that the object is realized by the cognizer.
Dela did the Sardu Milu Riba said, Timiki Tinisha, the Dode Badan, and the Semzan Badan, and the Umarajiba Honsuilagore, Sungorati. Then Cheramawaki Sardu Milua Lama, the Ripas and Lagoma Honsuge, Sardu Milua di Simeting, yes, Lagorma, the Ripas and Lagomare. Da Umatinjuba Labana, the Sardu Lagomar, Milu Ripa, said Timothy Lagor, Umatinjubi, the Sardu Lagomar. She's now that the Koran Jumda Susana, Shatan Dosos, Semi Muezinadi, Mo Shatan Dosos Cavaliere.
Within the presentation of the Buddha Dhamma, there are different philosophical schools. And in many ways they hold most things in common, but they have some important differences. So this definition here of a valid cognizer being a new, incontrovertible knower is accepted by several Buddhist philosophical schools, but not all of them. So those who studied this some years ago, when you looked at tenets, about 3 years ago, will remember these schools. So this particular definition is accepted by 3 of the schools: the Sautrantikas, the Chittamatrans, and the Svatrantika Madhyamikas. So those 3 schools, the Sautrantikas, Chittamatrans, and Svatrantikas, they accept this definition as it is. This is the definition they assert. Whereas 2 of the other schools, they accept a different version, a slightly different version. So the lowest school, the coarsest school, that of the Vaibhashika, they don't have the term knower. they say the definition of a valid cognizer is that it is new and incontrovertible. So that is the definition of the Vaibhashika. The Prasangika, the highest school, their definition of a valid cognizer is an incontrovertible knower. So they don't have the term new. So again, the schools that differ from this, the Vaibhashikas, don't assert the term knower, and the Prasangikas don't assert the term new.
Di tsema la wa chira ma wa ge di tsema res mi ongbo di tsema re mi gi sheba de tsema ni ga tsema res mi gi sheba di tsema re riba res mi gi ongbo di tsema re di riba ma res ko su res la wa re.
And to explain then why the Vaibhashika don't use the term knower in the definition and just say a valid cognizer is new and incontrovertible, is they say that a valid cognizer may be a knower, but is not necessarily a knower. A non-knower can also be a valid cognizer. Or to express this in English in a clearer way, so knower we can understand here as consciousness. So it doesn't, a valid cognizer, Vaibhashika say, the lowest Buddhist tenets say, doesn't have to be consciousness. They say that subtle form, a particular subtle form, can also be a valid cognizer. So for example, the eye sense consciousness will apprehend an object, and that can be a valid cognizer, but so too is the eye sense power. The subtle empowering condition, the subtle form, that too is a valid cognizer. So the Vaibhashika are unique in asserting, or alone in asserting, that the sense power, the subtle form, also can know or can realize the object. The text we're studying, it's not written from the perspective of the Vaibhashika, of this lowest Buddhist tenet, so therefore the author of this text asserts a different definition, that of the Sautrantikas. And here the term knower is inserted to make the point that the Vaibhashika's understanding is mistaken, that a valid cognizer is necessarily a knower, is necessarily a consciousness.
Now, Uma Tenju begi milu rigba, sen tsime tsinye shagorwa milu rigbas. Chesa milu in bor rigba inna, milu rigba china tsemare la gor. Yu to begi rigba china, and tsemare la gorwa. Tala do ben yu to sane keji mongbo de keji niba, yu su ben su to sane keji niba, yuningbo zho senge dige, and jishe dige, and jishe se chorwa, jishe se de anda Tenju begi tsemare la gor, jishe dige. That thing you begin Samari Lavio, that Dodeba Digi, Dodeba Honzu Carlaworson, thank you for Kurangi, Geshe de Milu Riba, Tsime Tsingisha, Geshe de Samarilla, Jimare, Geshe de Samamare, Yu Don, Unimuchimbare, called Dango Toba de Mare, called Sabatoba Mare, called Chigi Dog, Unimuchi, is that called Samachagi Mare, Sama in the Yu Dambo, how watch Gores, Sardo, how watch Gores, says that. Geshe de Tsema Mare, Maimba, the Hagoyag, Dondala, and then Jet de Tsenyi Sudu, Sardu, said Koron, never capture. Chesa, Tsema in Yud, Tambo, Sardu, or Gures, Chesa, Lavio, Geshe de Tsema Maimba, Maimba, Hagoyag, Dondala, and the Sardu, said Shad. These are Tenjubi, Tseme Tsin Shaba, the Tata Rigmares, Di Dondala, Sardu, said Shad, Koronsuki.
And in our definition here, we see two remaining terms, that of incontrovertible and before that new. So the term incontrovertible is in the definition of all Buddhists. All Buddhist schools assert that a valid cognizer is incontrovertible, which means that it realizes its object. So a valid cognizer necessarily realizes its object. So that's the meaning of incontrovertible. Then there's text which is not written to in accordance with the tenets of the highest philosophical school, the Prasangika. They have this third term, which for us is first, and that is new. So this is included here by the author, so as to make the point that the Prasangika, the highest Buddhist philosophical school, in their opinion, the understanding, the assertion of the Prasangika is mistaken, because they do not have the term new. So here, the insertion of the term new shows us that the author of this text is not writing from the perspective of the Prasangika. Rather, they are showing by including the term new, that it's only the first moment that a object is realized, that is, that cognizer is valid. Only the first moment. Each and every subsequent moment, the second and each subsequent moment, is not a valid cognizer, but a subsequent cognizer, and subsequent cognizers are not valid. So this is a point of disagreement between the highest Prasangika, the Prasangika school, which is the highest Buddhist school, and the other Buddhist schools. Whether the first moment alone is a valid cognizer, or whether the subsequent moments are also valid cognizers or not.
Adine zadan doje bada semzamba ane umarang jube glula chama ina kishu sum chango gorda dangbo rigba yingo rigba mayina chama chema rigba yingo res rigba yinba zamji chama chema la ko yudo to gore milua yingo yudo gores rigba yingo gore yudo to gores yudo ba de dangbo to ba chingo gores sar to ba chingo gores 제가 디기 rigba yinba yudo ba yudo ba de yu dangbo to de gen da sar to ba 디 kishu sum chanjige rigba de la chema la ge yes gorda.
And in brief, these three key terms here in the definition, new, incontrovertible, and knower. The term new shows that it's only the very first moment that an object is realized that it is a valid cognizer. The term incontrovertible shows that the object is realized. And thirdly, the term knower shows that it has to be consciousness. It's only consciousness that can realize an object.
다 체마들라 양 체마들 파 예와라 체바이나 양 대선의 인치고르디나 체마들야 모습이 체마세야다 제수법의 체마세의 인치고래.
The valid cognizers, as we see at the bottom of the second page, can be divided or are divided into two: direct valid cognizers and inferential valid cognizers.
예, 모습이 체마세야디 고 된지다 마태와치 그도 유디 모습 전바 문에 또 투에 토비 세마다 다당 김세 강라야 되 먹어봐지 아니 된지다 맞아봐지 또 싸와 또 한데라 모습이 참아서 그래 제수법에 된지다 맞아와 김세 야다지를 맞되 되 먹어봐 맞되봐지 김세라 되와 배네 맞되봐지 아니 대야 유디 된지다 맞아와 된지다 맞이고 거네 싸와 또 한 참아데라 아니 모습이 참아서
제수법과?
제수법의 체마세야디 김sen지를 떼죠. 김sen 양다바지를 떼인제 안에 유디 된지단 전에 또 한들라 안에 제수법의 체마스.
As we see here in the text, we'll come to these later, but in brief, the difference between these two divisions of valid cognizer is that a direct valid cognizer realizes its object directly. It doesn't rely on a meaning generality. It's also new, and it doesn't rely on utilizing a correct reason. It doesn't need a correct reason, nor a meaning generality or a mental image to realize the object. It realizes the object directly. Whereas the second type of valid cognizer, that of inference, an inferential valid cognizer, this does rely on a correct reason. It's independent on a correct reason that the object is realized. Whereas The direct valid cognizer does not need a reason, but realizes the object directly. And the second difference is the inferential valid cognizer does utilize a meaning generality or a mental image. A further difference between these two is that a direct valid cognizer has both divisions of consciousness that we heard about a few moments before, the sense consciousnesses and mental consciousnesses. These are all to be found within, these can all be found within direct valid cognizers, whereas an inferential valid cognizer only includes mental consciousnesses. There are no sense consciousnesses within inferential valid cognizers.
아니 가서 두어디 매는 마도 두어든 거 말아. 제가 두어고는 매를 기고래. 제가 두어디 매 제부인자 도저 두어 슈르 태요도 두어디 통제 니 두어입이 김선진 어디디 나래 매두서 하고 가지고 매정어 소미 통해 뭐 통해 말 다른 번 매디 통고 말 되네 두어입이 통제 두어입이 김선진 오픈이 매여래 매 발고도 써야지 하고 한 세마지어와 어디 제바 세마서 그래.
An illustration that's easy to understand to differentiate a direct valid cognizer and an inferential valid cognizer is if we look out the windows, we see a load of trees. So we're seeing these trees directly. There's no utilization of a meaning generality or a usage of a reason, a correct reason. We see the trees, we realize trees. So that's a direct valid cognizer. Inferential valid cognizer, that's now quite different. It's only mental, it's not sense, and it relies on a correct reason and a meaning generality. So if, for example, we see at a distance smoke arising from trees, we can only see smoke arising from trees, we can't see any fire, but in dependence on the reason of smoke arising from trees, we can infer that there is a fire. So that then is an illustration of an inferential valid cognizer. We're relying on a correct reason. This is happening with our mental consciousness, that in dependence on the correct reason of seeing smoke, we can mentally infer that there is fire. The sense consciousness hasn't observed fire, hasn't seen fire, but we know based on the correct reason that there is fire.
nga sede gasa dame chiste gasa da du maru jeba gasa da du dubai ne gyudan kien kala ma de rang ngwe ne chup tyo yo gure chisa didu jeba chidi gyudan kien kala ma de rang ngwe ne duba de mindu chisa du jeba chine gyudan kien kala rang ngwe ne duba de mindu sampe ke samlo yedo di gyumchen le tene da rangshi youtube tongba de se be ha gu go wa chisa tenji ke da gyumchen de chine 그래서 가사세의 규단建现了 对不对 같이 지난 규단 建了 对吧 인자 강라이마 되랑원의 두바 자위도 요 말에서 규단 建现了 对比 김선의 전에 강라이마 되랑원의 두바데 매바 하고 해야지 동이 또现在제바 계속으로 지난 되니게 된지게 달래 동이 또 비게 참아지 되딩 아주 제수법에 참아시고 되네 good.
And those of you who came to the teachings on dependent arising last year and engaged in those meditations, you'll be very familiar with the process leading to the arisal of an inferential valid cognizer. Because, as we've just heard, an inferential valid cognizer relies on a correct reason. So we covered many times how to meditate on selflessness of the persons. We went through the investigation that one does, the mental analysis that one does, and one goes through that entire meditation, coming to see that the self does not exist in the way that it appears through the mind. Rather, the self is a dependent arising. Because the self doesn't exist in the way that it appears, which is inherently, it's empty of existing in the way that it appears. It's empty of inherent existence. But rather, it's dependent on imputation by mind. So this understanding, this wisdom that has arisen, has arisen that understands emptiness, this has come about in dependence on correct reasoning. So this is the kind of thinking that is referred to when we talk about an inferential valid cognizer. It's a mental consciousness that comes about in dependence on a correct reason. And those who have been doing these meditations that we covered extensively last year will have a lot of experience of using reasoning in one's meditation.
참마다 무슨 참마들이 사다 미기 시비게 딴 통하나 디 미기 시비게 딴 통해도 안돼 아니 원병 왔으면 참마디 기회 받하고 그러와 다 되네 멤버지 안데다 소수기 김체 다 두아 통하지 메마 통하지 다 두아 유비 김체 편이 맺던데 요래 선비가 삼로시려도 대소수를 삼다나 어디 메디 삼로디 메바 하고 참마 로디카를 민가르선 제수법에 참마세들이 해서 아디나신다 만주임 디르와다 소수기 내가 노트를 제비네 김센때는 미제나 하고 그래 지수법에 참여다 하고 그래 이런 것은 마토베네 이러다 미 마토베네 그 김센을 때는 그 김센 하고나 디기 될 때는 하고 두 그래서 하다 디나신 아 저기 삼나래야 소수기 로가르가르 기기도 선배 심주체에도 김센지 삼다디 여하고 하다 어디데 지수법에 참말해서 하다 디네게 김센 삼다 뭐가지 왕시게 그도 통해 하고 얼르들 다 모습이 참말해서 데디 모습이 참말해서 제자디 만족이 예와체디 다델이야 캬바로 책으로 와다
Denne kunde de chik information. De Jesupaki tema de kola chik information. Jesupaki tema chik amto information. Denne dedu nato noto shogiere yamela nato si hama shogiere. De yankia songa.
Bene chik 저기 미지게 하다가 창으로 뚱바에 내려와다. 미 수지에 매와시 아니 하고 말았으면 미 수지에 통구민등에 동시에 창도 하고 말았으면 동시에 아니 제일 미 가라하고 그래서는 창동에 짐어들었다네 그 기시를 가는 말 창지마 어미디 창동시에서 하고 두고 제가 데니게 인자 창동에 미수지 매와체 값제 통구 말했으면 통배네 디마카네 디마들었다네 그 창동과 하고 두고 그래서 제가 두스 하고 디 제수법에 참말해 제가 미션다기 소수기 창동바디 미션다기 제수법에 하고 두고 제가 되네 삼다에도 먼저 삼다에도 어당이 미수지 하고 제베네 미션다 하고 그래서는 디 제부 찔렀더니 김선을 때니 미하고 제가 제수법에 참하고 그래 무슨게 참에다 하고 말때 제수법에 참하고 그래 디 하고는 이 노트 하고 그래 삼제 소수기 디 데니게 삼다지 소수기 노트리아 안 지파 잼순제하다 데니게 개발 연구로와 데네자 소수기 제수법에 참하셔야지 데니게 김선을 때니 하고 그래서 제수법에 참마다 무슨 재미게 남샤가 신비게 소설이야 락렌다야라 데니게 개발 연구로다.
So I'd encourage you to investigate your mind and see when you're having a direct valid cognizer, when you're having an inferential valid cognizer. This has the great benefits, as was described earlier in the talk, but it also will help you remember what is being presented here, what the meaning of these terms are. Because both of these, direct valid cognizers and inferential valid cognizers, we all have many of them. So, for example, if we something that we see directly, that will be a direct valid cognizer, because we realize it, we know it, just through seeing it, or through hearing it, or tasting it. So that would be an illustration of a direct valid cognizer. We know the object directly through that sense consciousness. And then an illustration of the inferential valid cognizer. So this is only mental, and it relies on reasoning, such as the illustration, we know that there is smoke because of the, we know there's fire because of the smoke that we see. So this is something we hopefully don't see too many fires, but we use our inference a lot. For example, we may do something thinking we may get away with it, but someone else can use their inference and come to understand that we perhaps did something we shouldn't have. So let's say there's some cold beers at home, and you shouldn't be drinking them, but maybe you have some anyway. And then someone comes, and in dependence on smelling, for example, the smell of beer, then they will, in dependence on that correct reason, the smell of beer, they will use their mental consciousness and infer that someone here drank them. Probably you, the only person here. Or maybe they'll see something on your facial expression or hear something in the way that you're speaking that could also be used, would also be a correct reason by which they could infer that you drank those beers. So this too would be an illustration of using an inferential valid cognizer. This is where one doesn't know whether the direct valid cognizer, one knows directly through one's sense or mental consciousness, one directly knows something. The inferential valid cognizer is only for the mental consciousness and depends on a reason. So keep that in mind on your way home, coming here tomorrow, remind yourself, come to know yourselves better, and remember the meaning of the text better that way too.
소수기 원비시비 제수자는 남도 기야들 기야 고가야래 원비 고단 바다 되게 냠는지야 되게 야 제수밥이 당원숭이 참마 셰바 남라 셰바나 되게 제수밥이 참마 금sel에 되네 하고로 소수이네 지산 신이야게 된 마신바이나 디신이야게 된다 제바지 금센지 금센 제바지도 된다다 하고 두부리 선배 삼마다야다 그래서 용 두부리 세비 아니 아직 소수기 내가 지금 소수기 디비 내가로 그렇지 직제바이네 어디지 제바이나 미디기 제부 금sel에 되네 미šan다 하고 와나 소수래 니제 포야다 강아 인물에서야다 어두시네 하고비 토네 아니 저기 야 아니 지금 디바다 한 지게 자와 말롱바디에 점선제하다 아니 자와 야디게 한 저기 냠내지야라 판도 연구와 디네가 디링기다 내수디네시제.
And in brief tonight, what we've looked at is did a brief summary, and we started again to look at the most important division here, that of awarenesses. And we spoke about how awarenesses can be divided into sense and mental, and you're encouraged there to use this information to look at this process of how an object appears to a sense consciousness, and in dependence on that, a variety of mental consciousnesses come. To use this information, investigate this for yourself to see if it's true or not. And through gaining this knowledge and experience, one will come to see one's own inner workings, come to understand oneself better, and thereby gain a greater understanding of what leads to suffering, what leads to happiness, what ways of thinking should be adopted, what ways of thinking should be abandoned. Furthermore, now at the end we spoke about direct valid cognizers and inferential valid cognizers. The primary difference being a direct valid cognizer is where an object is directly realized without needing to go via reasoning, a correct reason. whereas an inferential valid cognizer requires reasoning. And this inferential valid cognizer is something that we strive to come through in our meditation, because we use analysis, we use investigation to come to understand ourselves better, to come to understand reality better. And this process then leads to the attainment of inferential valid cognition. So this in brief is what we've looked at tonight. So thank you, and then we'll continue from here tomorrow morning.